Very, very good effort.
Yeah.
Guardian
Oh, whoa,
Alliance. Whoa!
whoa! So, hey everybody, this is Aviator, and I have Shaka here with me, and we're going to be going over the decks for Future Beans and Just a Guy Playing before their KFPL Season 2 Week 5 matchup.
All right. So first up, we have Cartographer Workman, which is a Worlds Collide deck with Logos, Saurian, and Starlights. So 15 creatures. Normally when I see these houses in Worlds Collide, I'm thinking of a deck that establishes a really big board. With 15, if you get some high value ones, like you could have a nice board. I noticed the Starlights only has 3 creatures. So I don't know if you can go to Star Alliance over and over. It has a lot of good cards in it. I guess you're mostly doing destruction. Like if you fall behind, you can go into Star Alliance and do a red alert or some zaps and maybe play a card off house. But yeah, generally it doesn't look like you're really spending much time in there. And this deck is 1-0, so it's only played in one game. And it worked out, so that's nice. Logos, we have a lot of good stuff. 7 creatures, Eddie, 2 Hapsis, Daughter, Wormhole Technician, Titan Guardian. Like, these are all really great creatures. Hologramophone's a great artifact. Fetch Drones, a little bit sad because if you have a good board, like, you're probably not going to hit other Logos cards. And I don't know if you want to really discard the other Logos cards, like, they're pretty good. But it could get you out of an emergency, potentially. And it Cutthroat Research and Twin Bolt and Wild Wormhole are just nice cards to have. You can play them, they do their thing, and you move on. In Saurian, we've got 5 creatures, City Gates, Tribute, Regrettable Meteor. Yeah, I don't really know like any sort of theme that's jumping out here. The Ludo and the Scudam with the Tribute and City Gates is nice. You can get a lot of Amber and then Regrettable Meteor it away. I imagine this deck just rides the Logos board and then like sets up Gargantodon for anti-steal. I mean, that seems to be pretty nice. Yeah, curious to see how that turns out.
Yeah, if you were worried about like lift effects, you could even do something like Tribute and then Tribute, Scudam, or have a Ludo out and then sorry about that your own creature. That doesn't sound super great, but it could delete a pretty big number of Amber.
Yeah, I mean, that might be the way to go here. Yeah, you're not really doing anything with the Amber after you capture it other than deleting it. So you might as well delete it if you can and continue to ride Logos. Next up, we have Beep, Ferocious Drag Sprinter. It's a Call of the Archons deck, Dis Logos Untamed. We see 3 Control the Weaks in Dis and a Life Ward. That can be quite oppressive if it turns up in the right order. 2 Hand of Dis can help clear out some of the threats, but generally with the Control the Weaks, you want to see like 3 Fates or Gateway or something to really shut off their board. Yeah, you can get Sunburst in Dis. Pit Demon can get you a steal. So if you have a few of the creatures out, like you could Control the Weak to for a lot of damage potentially. I also like the Phase Shift with all the Control the Weaks in Logos. So you could do a big library access turn and cap it off with a Control the Weak. Reverse Time, pretty great with library access. You can dump cards that you want to draw into again and draw even more. Several actions, only 5 cards that stick on the field, 4 creatures and 1 artifact. So you could do some pretty mean things with library access here. But outside of that, this house looks a little bit slow. These creatures aren't super impactful. And even with the Archivist, okay, you reap and archive a card. I don't really see you wanting to be in Logos over and over. Finally, we'll go to Untamed, where we see a lot of actions. Okay, this deck only has 12 creatures. That's pretty low. And 6.8 creature control, 20 expected Amber. Major disruption with the Control the Weak Life Ward, as we mentioned, and a good amount of draw efficiency too. I do wonder if things don't turn up in the right order, what happens to this deck. Like, I think it can pop off in the high end, but if it's playing like 50th percentile draw, I don't really know like what's going to happen. If they're the opponent is able to set up a board. And I mean, okay, you play Lost in the Woods, you have to shuffle your own stuff back too, and a lot of them don't have good play effects in this deck, except for Flaxia and possibly the Terror. Lupo the Scarred, I mean, I don't get super excited about shuffling that back into my deck. Same thing with Regrowth. You can pick up Flaxia, that's great. The other stuff you pick up, it's all right. Witch of the Eye, I'm not seeing like a good loop in here. So this Untamed doesn't look super great. I think it can get you some sneaky burst in the right circumstances.
It seems like for sure there's a possibility of some burst. Yeah, if you get a Reapin with the Witch of the Eye, it's going to be tempting to just go for a Control the Weak, I think, much of the time. But there's no way to turn that into a same turn thing. So the Vigors could maybe be big. There's not a lot of great targets for them, but if it happens, then maybe you're really happy to just play that twice.
Yeah, like if there's a huge Saurian creature or something on the other side, and like you can heal it and get burst, that could be pretty good. Yeah, this deck, really wish you had a Dominator Bauble. Then you could play toward that Witch Control the Weak lock. I think this deck can also just go nuts if this and Logos turn up at the right time. This deck is 1-4 in the league. So hopefully we see what it can do today in a good way. All right, finally we have this deck, which is called like Prospector Issaka in English. And it is a Mass Mutation Logos Sanctum Saurian, which is a pretty great combination. And it has 85 SAS. So these Sanctum Saurian decks in Mass Mutation tended to be underrated by SAS. Well, I won't say underrated, but the scores are not as high. Let's just say that. And this one actually has a high score. So I wonder what that means. Like if it fits into the traditional archetype of like capturing a lot of Amber and Sanctum, being able to manipulate it in Saurian. So let's see what's going on. Logos has Ultra Graviton, which is an amazing card, especially with the Archivist, if you can actually pick it up. You can put it into your archives with the sloppy lab work. Other than that, you're not going to be able to put it in your archives deliberately. But if you can, then you'll be pretty happy being able to have that efficiency with the Ultra Graviton and the Eclectic Inquiries. Standardized testing, hopefully you play that before the Ultra comes out. Enhanced QMEX. Okay, what's the enhancement? It is a damage pip. Okay. That's not super exciting, but it is something. Like you could recur it, and maybe you pop a ward for standardized testing, or you're just dealing that damage over and over. You could pop a ward for a Bouncing Death Quark. That's pretty nice. Actually, that Bouncing Death Quark is enhanced too. That one has a draw icon. Sanctum. Lots of creatures in Sanctum. Okay, this is nice. You have Lord Golgotha. I really like that card. It can do a lot of work controlling the board. 2 Zealots and 2 Gorvanals and Champion and Ardent Hero. So we've got 9 creatures in here. That's a lot. And Pulsion of Invulnerability, like that can go nuts. Equalize. Can you take advantage of that? Yes, there's a Prefectus Ludo in Saurian. There's also an Amphora Captura in Saurian, so you could really do some serious Amber control with this deck. I think they've got to have board wipes to handle this. You could do a bunch of fighting and then Mad Prophet, Gizzleheart. There are no mutants in Sanctum. So you can have a big fight turn, fully heal everybody, and gain a lot of Amber. This seems extremely effective. Then in Saurian, we have City State Interest with Pairwell Sanctum. This pairs well with Spoils of Battle. Good stuff in Saurian. Citizen Trick's always good to see. Saurian Egg is not my favorite card, but you can get a capture with the M4, or it just gets you a pip. I don't really know if you're activating it much in this deck. Technosaurus, Therocenturion. Yeah, those cards, they can do stuff for you. They're not the most impactful cards. Well, Therocenturion is pretty good. They're both pretty good. They're both like A- cards, I think. Like, you're not really sad to see them. Sagittarius Gaze is a card you are usually sad to see. And it it doesn't have a damage enhancement, unfortunately. It has 2 Amber, so get you some burst, I guess. Siren Horn can actually be good in this deck if you put it on a Sanctum creature.
Yeah, get it on the right one and you can be pretty happy. And I think, even with the Amphora Captura, yeah, that could help feed it a little.
Yeah. So I hope this deck gets played, but I have a feeling it's going to get banned.
Yeah, it does seem a little big. Well, yeah, which one do you think you would ban if you had to pick one?
The Prospector deck,
Yeah,
the Sanctum Saurian Ultra Graviton.
yeah, that seems pretty reasonable. Yeah, Cartographer also fairly high SAS, but it just doesn't seem as obvious to me how it fits together. So I agree with you. So I'm going to go ahead and sorry for people watching. I know the audio has been a little rough. I'm figuring out a new setup. Not actually my not a new and staying setup, just a different setup temporarily because of some loud noises in one corner of the house. So due to construction. So that's fun, but we're, I'm figuring it out as I go along. With that out of the way, let's look at Sergeant Mask Blake, the first of JustAGuyPlayin's decks. So this one is, I think the first thing that sticks out to me here is Triple Edie, which is, or Triple Eddie, which is just really good in Logos. Being able to archive 3 alone is very good, and then having that cost increase as a result of it is downright oppressive. You have a little bit of support for it in Tau Tau Vapors and some other good stuff if you can keep them on the board, like the Bibliophiles. But even there, if you can increase the cost enough with the eddies and then land an interdimensional graft at the right moment, maybe pull that out of your archives and hit your opponent with it, it can just be really devastating. And that's all just in Logos. So that's a lot to worry about right off the bat. Not to mention that in Shadows, you have another Scaling Amber punishment in Too Much to Protect. You have Artifact Control in Hawk. You have Mac the Knife, who's just a great creature. I am not seeing other steal straight out of hand. So in order for the Too Much to Protect to prevent a forge, you have to have something boosting the cost in addition to just playing that. Unless you have like Umbra or Javenda or Yancey Gang on the board to steal one afterward.
Yeah, that's a pretty big shortcoming here.
Yeah, but with three eddies, I mean, maybe you just almost always have one. We'll have to see. And then in Dees, 2 Exhumes, which are great for getting the eddies back if that's what you need, but also 2 Infernuses. So that's potentially 4 Infernus plays on a single cycling of the deck. But there's some and the hit and run could bring one back too. So pretty brutal Dees setup with an Obsidian Forge threatening to end the game if you let them have too many creatures and they're on 2 keys. So just seems like a really oppressive, scary deck all around to me.
Yeah, it looks pretty powerful. Yeah, I guess the Too Much Protect being more like an interdimensional graft. Like, I think IG works well in Logos. In Shadows, like, you do usually want to get stops. So I think even if there were one card that took off key from hand, like, I think that's all you really need. The fact that there's 0, I don't know. I think Shadow is kind of a weak point in this deck. I think Logos is pretty great, and Dis looks pretty great as well. I've got the board clear. Greater Ox deck could purge out some of that Shadow stuff, I guess. So I think it's a pretty solid deck.
Yeah, you're right about the Ox set being potentially really big, and then you add that with the archiving and Logos, and maybe you only play Shadows 2 turns in this deck, and they're both big turns, right? I mean, that's very plausible. Jumping to Galaxy Tycho Manor Aerosmith, I think if you haven't seen this deck before, then you must be new to watching competitive Keyforge, because this deck has been around. It is a very strong deck and has a reputation. I think the Untamed House has some crazy synergy and burst with 2 Dust Pixies, a Hunting Witch, 2 Nature's Calls, and a Nepenthe Seed. That is the burst potential is really off the charts there, and Taliga can be pretty oppressive too if it comes out at the right moment. The Dees and Logos setups are kind of just a lot of good stuff. The Logos has really good deck accelerators, 2 mothers, wild wormhole, library access, phase shift, lab work, sloppy lab work. I mean, you're just gonna play through your deck pretty fast on your Logos turns. Some scaling punishment in interdimensional graft, and then effervescent principles can drag out the game if that's what you need. And then a fairly fast Dees as well. You have Hecatomb, which could push you over in your amber production, but you also could slow them down with Charette. You have artifact control in Poltergeist, board control with Gateway, and then a Control the Weak to boot, and 2 succubuses, which can also just make their deck crawl. So this seems to me like mostly just a lot of good things, which I think is often how Coda works.
Yeah, and this is, well, it's often how Coda works, but this is like premier Coda, like one of the best Coda decks in existence. Like a lot of things flow together really well. You just get so much edge every turn. Like if you have both mothers and both succubuses out, then you're at +4 cards every turn. That adds up really quickly, and there's so much disruption. The Taliga, Nature's Call, sending cards back to your hand. It can be used to burst, but it could also mess your board up if necessary. The 2 libraries are just getting massive efficiencies. You have the right cards at the right time. I think this deck has got to get banned.
Yeah, hard to justify anything else. And just an interesting point of comparison here with all these decks are in a similar SAS range, and of course SAS isn't everything, but if you look at if you look above the big numbers, there's the base arc and then the synergy, and I think those are actually pretty indicative of what's going on here. The Coda deck here is just really high base arc. That means each card is just in itself giving you a ton of value, and then there is some synergy that can happen, whereas the Worlds Collide and Mass Mutation decks have lower arcs but then much higher synergy values, and I think that is generally true across those sets. They want you a little more to rely on synergy between the cards and landing certain combos, but how that plays out in the end is to be seen. But I agree, it's very difficult not to ban Galaxy. Let's cover the Mass Mutation deck really quick here. I see the players are figuring out their strikes right now. Yeah, this one is Gun Bullet, Bayou Lady General, and it has if I see somebody open a Mass Mutation deck and it has Saurian and Sanctum, I'm just very scared of what is gonna happen to me as a result. This has that and some really good synergy. A lot of capture in the Sanctum with cards like Commandeer and Font of the Eye and 2 Lieutenant Gorgonals. So that's going to be a lot of capturing happening. And then in the Saurian, we have even more capture, like Spoils of Battle, and then a bunch of crazy captured amber games like Curiosaurus and Prefectus Ludo. So along with really strong board control with Tertiary and Axiom, and then a super high burst back in Sanctum with free markets. And that's just like insane synergy that's happening between those 2 houses. And we haven't even touched on the third one yet.
Totally.
Yeah. So then in Star Alliance, we have, more capture with cards like Anthony, and Mutagenesis Researcher is going to add some capture icons, and then some accelerators like Lay of the Land and Subject Kirby that can help us get through the deck faster. More board control with Quintrino Flux. I think this is maybe one of the better Star Alliance packages in Mass Mutation. I think it's generally a little underpowered compared to Worlds Collide, but this one seems really good.
Yeah, and we have the Dark Amber Vault in this deck with a transporter platform, so you can fire Kirby twice, you draw 2 cards, and play 2 creatures out of house. Let's see with the enhancement on the Mutagenesis Researcher. Okay, so with the Dav out, you're drawing 2 because there's a draw enhancement on it. So you draw 4 cards in 1 turn. That's pretty great. So the bans are Galaxy Tycho and Prospector Issaka.
Yeah, that's what we were guessing, right?
Yep.
So, hey, a win for us. We called it right.
Hooray. We can keep our jobs.
Yeah.
All right, we've got two Worlds Collide decks facing off first. Sergeant Mass Blake versus the Cartographer Workman. All right, JustAGuyPlayin going first.
Interesting. And yeah, we have, let's see, only one house shared between them, right? They're both on logos, but their other two houses are very different. So, should be fun.
Yeah, we see Worlds Collide new stuff, Saurian and Starlines, or traditional Distant Shadows.
Cool. Looking for opening volley here goes Logos, and JustAGuyPlayin opens up with a Babbling Goodly File. If that sticks on the board, that could lead to a very nice turn 2 for him.
Yeah. Probably wants to go into Logos again based on that first turn play. Or it could have been a decoy.
Yeah, Philophosaurus lands on futurebeans' side, which is also something you're very happy to get to go back into if it works out.
Yeah, I think you need to do some work to get rid of this. But looking over his masks list, like, what is he going to do? I don't see any cards that can actually destroy. Oh, there's a Draining Touch, so maybe it has that. Bornet's Touch. Turned up Walls, Tachyon Pulse, Zap, Brutodon, and Hapsis. I would hit the Hapsis here.
Interesting. Does he have any artifacts that he really cares about? Because that would be the only reason to want to take out the Tachyon Pulse. But yeah, the Hapsis is probably going to be pretty important for the board fight.
Yeah, maybe the auxiliary could protect somebody important. I don't know. Tachyon Pulse, okay. Well, he wants value from the Subtle Maul and the Spike Traps, I guess.
Yeah. Wow, and an early Infernus.
Oh, Obsidian Forge. Okay, that's a big miss. That one is a pretty important artifact. So, yeah, maybe he's anticipating getting the third key with that. So, I can see hitting the Tachyon Pulse there.
Yeah, for sure. Futurebeans goes Logos for their second turn, leaving that Philophosaurus idle.
Yeah, Futurebeans must have a pretty awkward hand to have opted to play the Saurian cards over, whatever else was in there. Especially if the Regrettable Meteor didn't do anything. City Gates, sure, it's fine. And then Philophosaurus, which didn't reap.
Yeah, but these are all high-value creatures on the board, right? Daughter, Edai, Hapsis. Those are all creatures that can do real work.
Oh, yeah, no, they're great. I would just wonder if, he drew into them just now. And maybe he's sitting on some Starlight stuff that's, pretty situational.
Sure, yeah. If you had those Logos cards turn 1, you probably play them instead. JustAGuyPlayin dropping 3 Shadows creatures and a Pestering Blow. The Pestering Blow landing on the Philophosaurus, which is that's sad.
Yeah, that is. Enrage can really mess you up sometimes. I think we actually talked about this in the Card Talk series a bit on Cull the Weak. Enrage, I think, is a bit underrated. There just weren't that many cards that could enrage many creatures at once. I think Mass Enrage can actually be quite disruptive.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, and I think Soul Fiddle is just I think a little too slow for the power levels that Enrage has. But yeah, if it lands at the right time, like stopping a Philophosaurus is really good value. You might as well have stunned it, really.
Yeah, this might even be worse with the current board state. You just can't use it. And like no matter what, he has to spend a turn doing something he doesn't want to do.
Yeah. Red Alert and Zap really cleaning up just a guy playing's board over there. So that actually leaves Future Beans in a really advantageous position. Medic Ingram comes down and wards the daughter. I would have been really tempted to ward the Dilophosaurus so that it would be easier to get the enrage off of it, but that's maybe a little slow. So, and daughter is giving good value here.
Yeah, I might have warded herself as well because in the Blake deck, what are we really seeing for removal? Like, there's the Harbinger Obsidian Forge. And other than that, if there are a lot of wards going on, I believe Twin Bolt and Mishu was already played. It's a few pinky damage things here and there, but a warded board could be a big problem.
Definitely. Interesting. I mean, both players really spending a lot of time on the board here. I mean, to be going into turn 4 and
Yep. And I think they both know that these decks don't really burst. So once you get up and going on the board, and like the board clears have gone by or you're warded up, then in 2 or 3 turns, like you'll have a few keys.
yeah. Once someone gets the leverage, then I think it goes pretty fast. And Future Beans has a pretty strong board presence now.
Yeah, it needs a Harbinger stat. And there's 16 cards left in deck, so it's 50-50. Does he have it?
Yeah, of course, if it does hit, then that's insta, right? Thanks to the Obsidian Forge, you get instant value out of the Harbinger.
Right. So that was another good reason to take the Tachyon Pulse out, because it could enable his board control. Okay, Misery Exploit. There's your burst in Worlds Collide.
Wow. Yeah, huge burst in this scenario. 3 amber for Misery Exploit. Call in the press.
Draining Touch. Huh. Okay, this doesn't look like a Harbinger turn to me.
No, because if you're gonna Harbinger, you definitely reap with the Infernus.
All right. So you're going to purge here. Medic Ingram. Oh, Red Alert. It would be a good pick. Eat-Eye and Cutthroat Research. Okay. Yeah, in Worlds Collide, I like to hit the stuff that lets you stay on the board.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I was talking with Glorfindel earlier today about key cheats and the idea that, well, my take on key cheats, because he was asking, do you think you can ever have too many? And I said, I think every key cheat that doesn't have a viable case for it firing is one too many, but the ones that have a condition are good. They're great if you can reliably meet that condition. But Obsidian Forge is a pretty decent exception because it has a lot of utility even on the turns where you don't actually forge a key with it.
Yeah, especially in Dis. Like there are times you want to destroy your creatures, particularly in Mass Mutation. Or in Worlds Collide as well, you destroy some stuff and then you exhume it or not finish with you. Yeah, Obsidian Forge is one of the best key cheats in my opinion.
Yeah, it's really strong, and I think that strength is mitigated by the fact that it can be interacted with by artifact control, and you can even it can even be used against you in a really terrible way with cards like Remote Access. But
yeah, Glorfindel loves doing that to me. Speaking of him,
he did bring that up.
Yeah, He's remote accessed me twice on my Obsidian Forge in Chainbound.
That's what you get.
Yep. Okay, this is going to be a Harbinger turn, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that needed to happen because that Future Beans' board is huge. 4 Logos creatures, 4 Saurian creatures. But they're all going away now.
Yeah.
That amber from the, that was City Gates onto the Scudummed Dilophosaurus is not coming back, though.
Yep, it is gone. Haps is still alive, and I don't think he's going to be able to refill in Disc. Yeah, there's nothing. All right, what have we seen from Future Beans? 4 Logos creatures, once purged. I don't know, he's due for Star Alliance, and yeah, this is what we were talking about. There's no board in that house. If he had a lot of Star Alliance creatures to drop right now, he'd be in a great position. But he's got to, work with what he has. Should maybe just play some pips, try to get to check.
Now, if you could drop the Kirby, but you can't bounce the blaster
That's due to
Kirby
it,
on the Star Alliance turn. So, rough spot.
Yep. Hopefully you can get to 6 and hit a stealth mode. That would be ideal. Also, when the Eddy was purged, I mixed up the decks in my head. This deck only has 1 Eddy. So losing that Eddy just took out all the Amber control in Logos, except for the fetch drones, which isn't even online. So maybe purging Eddy there is pretty good.
It was like it.
Oh boy. Ouch.
Yeah, not a huge turn there, but he gets to 8. That's burst from 4 to 8. That's actually pretty okay.
Yeah, losing his wards there is no good, but I suppose it couldn't really be helped. I guess he could have damaged the Kirby and the Hapsis stay warded, perhaps. Now Hapsis is dead. And I don't think he wants to go back to the Star Alliance like anytime soon. Cartographer, that is.
Yeah, two E-dies on just a guy playing side. That's going to prevent the Forge here, and they're probably sticking around at least for a little bit. So, yeah, there they are.
Now he's in huge trouble, so the TMTP is going to hit. That stealth mode, he needed to Forge on that turn. I know Graft is gone. I don't know if we've seen too much Protect yet. Maybe here we're going to get another stop? No, apparently he wants to just let him Forge for... Oh, no, he played Tautau Vapors. Okay, so that's going to take him to 11. 12 key cost. Sorry, they're 2 Eddies.
Ugh, that's this is a brutal situation. Now, I remember being in this situation and then getting punished because Brobnar knocked my TMTP out of my hand with a Mind Fire. So sometimes you can push a little too hard, but assuming he tucked the TMTP, it would be safe in that case. The only thing that could prevent it would be if we see a stealth mode come out. But I think that's in the discard pile.
It's already been played, so maybe he just needs to fetch drones and like flip his deck. Well, the good news is Future Beans can get back into the board after he flips his deck. But the bad news is he's looking at a 4 Amber loss minimum to the too much Protect.
Yeah, that is a tough spot.
Yep, so Cutthroat Research, another high-end punish. So I guess when Luke analyzed the matchup, saw that there are no high-end punishes, actually, other than Tribute and Cutthroat Research. And Eddy. So those 2 of those 3 were were purged. So after this too much protect hits for an obscene number, I don't know how Future Bean's going to catch back up.
Yeah, and even the tribute isn't really a punishment. It's a mitigation, right? It mitigates it, but it does not. It doesn't actually help you win. It just slows down the other player. And even then, he has to land it on the Scudum for it to work right.
Yeah, or have the Ludo.
He didn't take Archives. That probably means he has the TMTP in hand still, or he hasn't drawn it. He hasn't drawn it. Oh no, he still can't forge because of those E dice. Yikes.
Yeah, just I don't know. If I had it, maybe I'd play it there just to make the game end faster. Because I don't know if you want to spend a lot of time in shadows in this deck. But with J Vinda out, now there's actually a possible stop using too much protect.
Yeah, that's true.
Odoak. Ouch.
That's why
Have to watch out for
he
that card.
gotta.
And Gargantodon.
Yeah, that's why you gotta do the thing when you have it in your hand, right? Sometimes.
Yeah.
But he can
Yeah,
easily
I wasn't
kill
paying
the
close enough
Odoak.
attention to that. Like those steel hate cards.
Really mess up the plan here. I mean, it could be it was the last card in deck. Like, that is not impossible. But yeah, capture 6 is not good.
Yeah, that's an interesting swing there. Yeah, now he does have a way. I mean, if he needs to get the Odoak off the board, he can do that with the spike traps, but the Gargantodon's a bigger problem.
Yeah, it is bigger. What is he going to do? Can he kill the Gargantodon in shadows? I don't think so. Graft is in the trash can.
Oh yeah, Graft would be really nice here, but yeah, it's not happening. Interesting.
Okay, if he could resurrect an Eddie, can make. Oh, is he gonna? I hope he doesn't play the TMTP before addressing Odoak. He can't even capture the Amber because he doesn't have any creatures.
Yeah, wow, that is that's a real turn of events there. But he does use the spike traps to.
Ooh, ouch! Oh no!
Oh yeah, there you can't. Oh yeah, the Gargantodon turns it into capture, and because there's not someone to capture onto, it just prevents it. That is that's an ouch. Although JustAGuyPlayin still ahead on the Amber count here, so maybe it ends up not mattering as much as we think for the final outcome. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, he's on his way to the third key, but I'm not sure if I would have bothered to play the TMTP there, because, I mean, it didn't do anything. It got you 1 Amber.
Yeah, that's true, and you could use it to punish again later.
Right. I mean, well, you could capture 1 this turn. I don't know. Maybe he knows that shadows is just over. He needs to get back to the Eddies.
Wow, Tribute holds off the second key. So, I mean, if all the creatures were dead right now, JustAGuyPlayin would be way ahead on Amber. But if he can't stop this key from being forged, then he'll be behind on keys, and it turns out that's what actually counts. So,
yep. Yeah, and so we're going to see a greater Oxtet. Okay, Exhume. Archives are gone. Cool, so he can Harbinger. Does he forge here? I don't know. Probably not, yeah.
Oh, I guess...
I mean, he can afford it, but should he do it?
Oh, right.
I don't think so.
There's no high-end punish, as we were discussing.
Right. Yeah, and it is a Yume effect. Yep.
Ooh, yeah. Imagine it being a must.
I have no choice.
Yeah,
But,
well,
I mean, of course, that's what must means.
I mean that it
Then
wouldn't.
I think the play would have been different.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter much, most of the time, but yeah, there definitely would have. Infernus brings Future Beans down to 5 and gets rid of some problems. So gets rid of the tribute. So there really aren't any stops left except for the city gates, which isn't really a stop, but it could slow it down. But at this point, I think
Yeah,
it's
no,
just a
it's not
tempo
even
game.
enough.
It is completely over. So nice, nice dealing with adversity from Just a Guy Playing.
Yeah, well, and Future Beans play into their outs too. So I mean that's both players doing the things.
Totally. I mean, that was really impressive play.
Yeah. Oh, and Obsidian Forge is, I think, just going to close it out here. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty good game. Cartographer did its thing, and I think the Harbinger hit at the right time the first time, and definitely the second time was inevitable. I wonder if that Exhume was in the archives or held, because if that was played for Amber, then Just Guy Playing wouldn't have been in position to do that comeback. A bit close for comfort, but it's a great game.
Yeah, when you see it go close because people are making good choices, that's always fun to see.
So, what do you think? Will Future Beans switch?
That's a good question. Let me.
Oh,
Well,
we
let's
got
go
to win a
that
bit
way.
against Gunbullet twice.
First turn played Lieutenant Gorvenal.
Yeah, that's an interesting turn one. I feel like I like to drop that when I have other creatures ready, but you got to work with what's in your hand.
Yeah, you're right. Why would you play that first? That's interesting. Well, maybe one to hit Philophosaurus without the armor.
Philophosaurus, and then Scudum, and then City Gates. That's remarkably similar to his last turn one.
Yeah, this is a lot better though. The Imperial Scudam instead of the Regrettable Meteor.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Oh,
Dang.
dead. Stomp for the Amber. Spoils the battle for the Amber.
So if he had all that Tertiate and Stomp and stuff, why did he play a creature on the first turn?
Yeah, that's a good question. All right. Well, lots of logos coming out. Cutthroat Research for the Amber. Fetch Drones. Edie. Daughter. These are some good cycling turns.
Yeah, and no Infernus this time.
Mm-hmm.
Can Gunbullet hang on the board? Tertiate is out. We still have Axiom of Grisk and Quintrino Flux.
Yep.
I had to put the stunner on the enemy creature. Okay, there we go. So he must not have any creatures.
Yep.
There's the second board clear.
Red Alert and Quintrino Flux gone in that turn.
Yeah, so we have Tertiate, Flux, Red Alert, and Axiom. We've seen 3 of the 4 by turn 3.
Yeah, that's early, but a lot of big creatures that could come out. So, I mean, three bulwarks can end up being pretty good amber control, or pretty good board control rather.
Yeah, that's true, especially if the Dark Amber Vault is up and running. Here's Future Beans dumping all their cards that don't make sense right now.
Yep.
As well.
I wonder if this just turns into who can play pips the fastest.
Well, they're playing all the pips now, so we're going to see some board come out soon.
Mm-hmm. Kirby.
Can he even play anything off Kirby?
Oh,
Wormhole.
Well, Wormhole. Okay. Yeah. That's a good one. And Ingram wards the Kirby, which is ignoring that timeless advice of the flight attendants that you put protect yourself first, but. And then, and that's a red alert for no value off the wild wormhole, but then Tachyon Pulse kills more of their own than the opponents, but I think, still seems okay.
Tachyon Pulse to get rid of the monument? I don't know. I might have ditched it.
Mm-hmm. It'd be nice to have it when the Dav comes out, because that's going to be gnarly.
Okay, play Axiom of Grisk to ward one creature and get 2 chains to destroy the Gingrun.
Come on, man.
At a glance, it doesn't seem like a great... yeah, is it a come on, man?
I mean, Faust
the value
is good.
Is not apparent at this time, but maybe it will become clear.
And he pitched the Curious Ars. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think that makes Faust. That's like what makes Faust a good card in this deck.
Mm-hmm. Maybe worrying about the tribute, but I think there's more capturing Gunbullet than there is in Cartographer.
Yeah, there's Odoak. That's drones.
Plus
that captures 2.
Yeah, plus your opponent has Ludo. You can always, if your opponent has the Ludo out, you can always choose to evaporate it instead of move it if that's what you prefer.
And maybe we should make a note to ask about that. I'm
not
really understanding.
Okay, notes guy. Yeah, that's a good idea. Free markets, but for 2, that's not what you're hoping for with that card. And a Bulwark.
No, it is not.
That's bad feels.
Gunbullet, all the board clears are gone, and there's still 18 cards in the deck. No logos. Future Beans, I think, should just press.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. Kirby's Blaster to draw 2 cards. Reaps with the Kirby. Gets the ward off of Faust. Oh no, actually, yeah. Zap to damage the Faust. Stealth mode. I mean, that's a nice turn.
Yeah. Yeah, that's 4 Amber so far. What's he considering playing off the Kirby? Maybe... We've already seen Cutthroat and Wild Wormhole.
Failing Strike wouldn't be too bad here.
Hologrammophone. Nice.
Yeah, I'll take that. JustAGuyPlayin goes Saurian.
Reap with Faust. I hope you have a defense initiative. Oh, right. You can't use it.
Yep. Power of the stealth mode. Ouch.
So whatever else was in his hand was even worse than that. I think JustAGuyPlayin is in a rough position here with the card draw.
Yeah. Yeah, seems he hasn't seen Dav yet, and that almost certainly would have been helpful in just getting through things a little faster. And wow, very little Sanctum in the discard pile. So we've only seen 3 Sanctum cards.
Yep. Well, whatever Sanctum he had in his hand, I guess it wasn't good enough to play that Saurian turn where he did nothing. Okay. They have the land.
Yeah, Future Beans is on check for key 2 right now with 9 Amber. JustAGuyPlayin gets to 6 now. So that's something.
Looking for Anthony.
Yeah.
But even then, okay, you played Anthony. You just attack it the next turn with the Rudodon.
Interesting. Took a while there deciding what to do with the lay of the land. Puts down the transporter platform. Oh, I hadn't thought about Lay of the Land as a way to
In your
get
deck,
value
yeah.
out of the Saurian egg.
Pretty esoteric combo. Actually have a deck that has a legacy navigator Ali and I think 3 saurian eggs or something. So you can actually do that a lot.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, and it's a top tier deck, right?
It's actually like kind of decent. It's not you won't win the Vault Tour with it, I'm pretty sure. But it's fun.
Yeah, no, that is fun. I mean, getting Saurian egg to hit for value is really good.
Yeah, and I like to think sometimes they make decks on purpose that have like, if it has a legacy, like, okay, we'll give you some stuff with the legacy. Like, it's not just going to be a total dud.
I think it's random.
Yeah. Talking about the world I wish we live in.
Yes. Imagine all the combo. Okay, well, Future Beans pushing back up to 6 here.
Yeah, that's a wrap. I mean, he's just so far ahead.
Yeah. JustAGuyPlayin gets key 1, has 1 amber left over. Maybe they can stall, but
I'm curious
it's
if
just,
like this was just a horrible draw or
yeah.
like what exactly happened here.
Yeah, it seems rough. Commandeer. I like the Commandeer with the drop hip. There's the Dav.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
Gorvanal also with a draw. Wow. So this is the turn that might just keep going for a little while because of these draw pips. And again, like, we had only seen 3 Sanctum cards up to this point, so maybe 4. Not a lot though.
So over on Workman's side, what do we have that can deal with this? I mean, good old-fashioned fighting.
Mm-hmm. Interesting decision to not protect the
Gorvanal.
The Gorvanal, yeah.
Yep.
2 amber on each of these creatures. And this is where you want the Curiosaurus out, because that would make this so much better than it is.
Yeah, although with the Ardent Hero, he can't actually hit it with his Saurians, which is annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Kirby could do 2 damage to it.
Yeah, if there were a way for Kirby to fight and not die, that'd be great.
There is not.
Yep, this is what happens when your deck doesn't have much creature control. You have the game in your hands, and then a few yellow cards get played, and suddenly you're stalled out for several more turns.
Yeah, which, I mean, we'll have to see whether that ends up being enough.
Right. And that's what I love about this game. Like, every single deck has some hole in it. And so it's really cool that in Keyforge, like, you have to play around the weaknesses of your deck. And like, against many decks, these Sanctum creatures don't mean a lot. But against some decks, they do mean a lot. So I think it adds a lot of richness to the game. And yeah, I mean, even I was saying like this is over, but I mean, I think the trajectory is still looking very much in Future Beans' favor, you know, when all the votes are counted, but we are still playing.
Yep. Yeah, getting value out of the Lyco Alien by playing it twice as a drop hip on it. So that's pretty cool. And wow, and getting extra value because of the Dav. I wasn't thinking about that. So that's 2 draws each time he played it.
Yeah. Okay, he might get back into his clears. I think Future Beans needs to close this out.
Discards a Tertiate. So that's interesting. Ooh. Kirby draws a card and is going to let let him play another creature. So
Mm-hmm.
that's just really good value there. And Bulwark draws another card. Is this the one that's no, this isn't the one with the draw on it, but still, that's pretty cool. Ensign draws another one off the Dav. Yikes.
Yeah. He's got to get that amber back. Can have the technicians whack the ardent hero and then Hapsis take out Gorvenal. That'll take you to 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Font of the Eye. I don't think he destroyed a creature, so it doesn't actually do anything here.
Right, but it saves you from having to hit swing it
prompts,
and enter. Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, imagine the Tide. They're just gonna ask you that every turn.
Maybe we can talk them into making an exception for that.
It might be. Maybe you could do it in your settings.
That would make
like,
sense.
I think it should just always ask you, because sometimes you could use it just as a crutch if you don't understand that your turn is over. So maybe it could introduce a bit more. The more levers of skill that you have in the game, I think, could be nicer.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly do that. It's like I'm feeling lazy. It's like, okay, I'll click enter, and then it'll prompt me if there's actually something else I can do.
Yeah, I think that might be actually one of the toughest etiquette situations is having a player who is kind of new, and they maybe misusing a creature, and you don't want to be presumptuous and assume that they didn't mean to do that. But you also don't want to win against a new player because they forgot. So that's a tough situation. Future Beans going to 9 here. Oof.
All that control, creature control in Star Alliance that I wasn't saying very nice things about is coming up big here. With all the diversity on the board, those zaps hit for pretty painful amounts.
Yeah.
Oh, and he played a sorry off Kirby.
Where's the Anthony? Because I think there's a really good chance Anthony drops here.
Yeah, he probably held it because he knew this was coming.
Yeah. So that actually, that's a pretty good situation to be in. The trouble is, can you ideally would like to keep keep it alive, so that you can later on transpo it.
Yeah. Oh, he's absolutely got to clean up as much as possible.
Yeah.
Here, like Hapsis needs to be dead. The wormhole tech, everybody.
And just how different would that have been if Curia had been on the board? It would have been, maybe Future Beans is sitting on 5 now instead of 9.
Yeah, so at least 2 creatures were destroyed that had amber on them.
Mm-hmm.
And then Anthony would be another one. I don't know. That Curia, I'm not sure. I definitely think he would have been advantaged if he had been playing it. But interestingly, the Brooded on Auxiliary is actually not dead yet.
Right. Right.
Return Lyco Alien. Okay. He's looking for more cards.
I have to say the Lyco Alien and its Untamed, flip side is, I think, my favorite. I don't know if it's the best, but having the skirmish with the fight effect is so nice. Yeah, it's really good.
It's one of my favorites. I think it might be the best one. People don't talk about it much, at least from what I've heard. I think skirmish alone is a pretty good ability, because you just target. It's action destroy a creature in a lot of cases, and that's great. With Whisper, you have to pay to do that, but with skirmish, essentially you don't pay if you have enough power.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it in those terms exactly before, but that makes a lot of sense. Oh wow, Ensign resolves the amber and draw off of Commandeer, and I mean that means I think JustAGuyPlayin has a pretty decent Commandeer turn that they could do as a follow up to the Anthony if necessary, but haven't seen the Anthony played yet, and I'm sweating a little because I mean he's got to have it, right?
He's gone through his whole deck and it hasn't been played. I mean,
yeah,
it's got to be somewhere. Yeah, presumably it's in his hand. I don't think it was like actually ever appeared in the chat log a single time. In fact, there is nowhere it could be except for in his hand.
I feel like this is almost in torture territory here. Like, why don't you just play it? Just do it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he thinks he shouldn't. Doesn't have another stop.
Yeah, I mean, you should. I'll help.
Yeah, I mean, he has to. Maybe he's deciding where he should put it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it should matter that much in this case.
Yeah, maybe he wants the font and then capture. Oh, a Quintrino.
There you go.
What's the right number to pick? Pick 6.
Yeah,
that's going to make the Commandeer a lot more problematic.
Yep.
Because he still has to actually get to threaten the 3rd key.
Right. Do you font one onto the Kirby here and then play the Anthony, or?
Yeah.
Oh, and Ludo off the Kirby Reap earlier. That.
Oh, why didn't he play the Ludo and then delete the Antony?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wow, that would have been brutal.
Huh. That would have been perfect.
I mean, I guess, having the Anthony around can be, because he's not going to draw back into it very soon, knowing that the hope of transpoing it is pretty good, assuming it doesn't die here. That's the risk.
Yeah. So, I mean, on board in Starlights, he can kill it. But the Perfectus Ludo will make him lose the Amber. So did he draw into like more zaps and stuff? He's only played 1 zap. Sorry about that, gone. Red Alert not really doing much. I think, has Failing Strike been played? It hasn't. Okay, might Failing Strike.
Not on this pass. It was played last. It was played before the deck flipped.
Regrettable Meteor will actually hit Antony as well.
Yeah, but you want to hit the Ludo first.
Yep. But I don't think he has it if he's playing Nodoak.
Interesting. I mean,
that City Gate's not here.
Yeah. It's so interesting. Like both of these games have gone from what just looked like totally lopsided outcomes to, okay, we're really playing here.
Yeah, I think when the Dav got out, like the acceleration is on JustAGuyPlayin's side.
Yeah. I guess if you have the Commandeer, you don't want to use it here because you want to wait until it's needed.
Yeah. Until Anthony's gone.
Yeah.
Well, he did his Sanctum trick. I mean, well, not really. There are only 4 Sanctum cards in the discard.
Mm-hmm.
His discard is a pretty good house diversity. He's getting back into his board clears.
Yeah. Well, actually, he did go back through them, but he's back to only having Axiom left.
Oh, I just saw Tertiate. Oh, he did the Quintrino. Yeah, that's right. Axiom. There's still a Red Alert, yeah.
No, Red Alert's in the bin.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, wait, who's...
It's good that I know where it is.
Yeah, who's...
It's good.
who's Red Alert and Tertiate are we talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Anthony has a loose screw here. He's leaking amber.
Yep. Turns out. I do think I kind of
Oh,
suspect an Axiom might come here, but
that would be pretty decent.
warding the Anthony probably. Oh yeah, I guess it's okay because if you start your turn that you want to transpo it with a ward on it, you can just ram it into something and then platform it, and it probably works out
Yeah.
pretty great.
Mm-hmm. I do hope we get to see game 3, though. I'm curious how the Coda with all the bounce will stack up against a deck like this.
Yeah.
And I think Future Beans needs some creature control.
Yeah. Oof. So yeah, JustAGuyPlayin back to 5 amber here with 2 keys, and all of Future Beans' amber is captured, but there's 10 of it on JustAGuyPlayin's warded creatures.
If Future Beans can get the amber back this turn,
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be able to pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Logos. All right. Okay, so you can fight the Kirby. Subject Kirby, that is. But the Commandeer is coming. Oh, he can't fight the Subject Kirby. He has 4 power.
Yeah, goes to 3, but
Being 4.
yeah, I mean,
Tribute?
this is coming down to the wire.
Yeah.
But if you're JustAGuyPlayin and you burst a bunch, I think you're pretty happy and probably sneak away with it.
Yeah. Gotta watch out for Cutthroat, so I think they can only reasonably go up to 7. Although, yeah, we don't even have fetch drones either. A
Well,
missing.
I mean, if you go to 15, then Cutthroat
Yeah, then
doesn't
CO2 doesn't
matter.
matter. True.
Yeah.
Yep. Good point. Oh, free markets. Oh boy.
Goes to 9.
I think he got it. Wow.
Yeah, because he has 1 archive, so it's possible that he could Cutthroat into Edai and stall for a
Not good
turn.
enough. No, he needs to take him another one.
Well, he has 1 in archive, so if you Edai, yeah, and the Wormhole Technician could even tuck another one in archive, so it's possible to do the stop, but tough.
But yeah, with the Ardent Hero now protecting Anthony, it is super tough.
Yeah, I think you then leave the other side of the Ardent Hero open in case you get into a situation where you need to transporter the Anthony, and then you can drop it back on the other side of the hero. I mean, assuming those things all stay on the board.
Yep. So the Commandeer is gone. So if he could Star Alliance into Tribute, and maybe do some zapping, can zap for 4, right?
Yeah, and then finish it with the blaster.
Right. But he also has to hit Faust.
Yeah. He he does go into Star Alliance.
So at 2 zaps, he can get Faust and the Anthony.
But also, I mean, if you manage to, let's say one zap kills plus the blaster kills the Anthony, But
Mhm.
then there's the Kirby's action is to fight into the Faust, and then you put the walls into the Faust. I mean, at that point you've
Yeah, you
killed
could
them.
do it with one zap.
Yeah. So if he has a zap in hand plus what's on the board, if he has zap and tribute plus what's on the board,
Yeah.
then he could flip the table here. But
Right. But I mean, the tribute is an absolute necessity for any of this to work.
yeah, yeah, because he already went Star Alliance, so the Logos options are not viable. And we do see a zap.
Right. So it's got to zap Anthony here. If he zaps Faust, I think that would be a mistake. Oh, he hit the Ardent Hero. And Gorvanal's kind of a problem too.
Yeah, it allows that recovery. Okay, so Kirby fights the Anthony.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he had enough damage to afford to zap the Ardent Hero. Like, Faust, I don't know, maybe. Oh, Cutthroat Research. Okay. But then that means no tribute. So we're done here.
Yeah.
Very, very good effort.
Yeah.
Argent Alliance.
Whoa!
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 It didn't work.
No.
I thought it was going to work because the key cost is 10. Wait a second.
So it should
So
be.
we had 1, 2.
Oh, Faust.
Well, the Faust screwed it up, but there are 3 houses on board, right?
So it should be 13 plus 4 for the Faust. So that's 17. Yeah, -1 per house on the board.
So if he killed the Faust like we were talking about, I think he might have been able to do it.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
Well, let's math it out. So Logos, Star Alliance, Sanctum, Saurian. So that this card says Forge at 8. I think he could have done it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it would have been 1 more Amber too because the Ardent Hero didn't have one.
Oh no.
That is part of the game. You get in these stressful situations and you don't necessarily see every path.
Yeah.
So that's all right. Okay. Let's see if they want to jump in.
Yeah, let's see if they jump in the chat. And by the way, I mean, the game I was mentioning earlier, my Obsidian Forge got remote access. Like, I literally could have activated it that turn and won. Like a turn before it got used. I just, didn't. There was a Crassosaurus. I had a Harbinger. All I had to do was blow up the Harbinger. I get the Amber back and then Forge. But I guess I didn't really understand that timing, so I just didn't do it. I played like a pointless Logos turn to get a stop or something, and yep, got hit bad. So Future Beans, I've been there.
Yep.
And I don't know, maybe it wasn't possible to actually do this. I think we'd have to look at it closely.
Yeah.
To see.
Yeah, hard to know. Hard to know what you're missing, and when you're okay. Yeah, Future Bean says they're exhausted. No worries. See if
I think Future Bean's in Australia. It's I don't know what time it is there, but
ouch.
Obscene hour.
Okay. Just a guy playing, doing their duty first and reporting. So
yeah. But Future Beans did a great job in this series. They played it. It seems like played the deck pretty well. I think there just wasn't enough room to maneuver around all the answers that JustAGuyPlayin kept coming up with.
Yeah, really so much back and forth, and just for how lopsided things looked early on, these swings back and forth were really, really wild ride.
Yeah, it's a super entertaining series to to watch. I'm glad we got a chance to see it.
Gunpullet seemed to really struggle until like you were saying, until that Curia dropped. And at that point, it had a lot more just command of the situation.
Yeah, the I think you meant the Dark Amber Vault.
Yeah, what did I say?
Curia.
Oh, yeah. I definitely meant that. I still think the Curia would have helped close things out earlier, but
Yeah, I definitely want to know more about that.
yes.
All right, hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, we have JustAGuyPlayin with us.
Yeah, congrats on the win.
Thank you. It's my first one of the tournament.
Nice.
Well, there are no easy wins in the league.
Right.
There aren't. Especially you look across the league, you see a bunch of names that have been at the top of all the tournaments online this past year.
Yeah, your name included. You were on the winning Shadow Worlds team, right?
I was, yeah.
So, talk to us about this series. What were your overall thoughts?
This matchup.
Yeah, your triad versus futurebeans triad.
So the strike was pretty clear to me. His Chinese language deck seemed to be by far the strongest. I didn't want him getting a Graviton down. I thought his Saurian was super strong, so that was a pretty easy strike. I figured he would strike Galaxy. So far, everyone struck Galaxy. And after that, I sort of felt like my two decks were much more efficient than his two decks. So my main goal was just to play it as quickly and efficiently as possible. A couple setups mid game, but mostly I felt like since my decks were stronger, I could mostly play a no frills efficiency game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There were a couple moments where we were echoing Z and Jupiter saying, "Come on, man," with a couple of plays that where we didn't see the line, but you got the W, so we aren't in a position to argue with you. But I'm really interested to hear what you were thinking when, especially I think the biggest one was pitching that Curiosaurus. It seemed to me like several times later on in the game where I was like, man, if the Curiosaurus was on the board, that these counts would be so different. So what was the angle there?
I mostly pitched it because he had fetch drones on the board.
Yeah.
I assumed he would be able to spend most of the game because I assumed since I didn't have artifact control, he could basically, as much as he wanted, spend most of the game just throwing amber onto his creatures.
Right.
I guess it's always a tight call. Maybe that was an error, but that's in the moment why I made that call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the thing that was a bit curious was like he had the fetch drones and city gates, but he actually destroyed it at the end of his turn.
Yeah,
maybe you were planning your turn and like executed based on like board state like a second before.
Did he actually? Man, then that was that I planned my turn and executed, because I remember it didn't make any sense to me that he played the pulse.
Mm-hmm. We were not saying confused by that.
Not saying it's a wrong call. It just didn't make any sense to me, and I completely missed that he played it because I assumed that wouldn't happen. But yeah, that was just sloppy play on my part then.
Well, there you go.
Whoops.
I mean, it happens and it's fine. We just wanted to understand more. Another thing we were curious about, the turn when he went up to 12, did you have too much protect when there was one card in your deck? Because we saw that he played the Odoak and the Garganton. This is back in game 1. The following turn, and so it turned your TMTP off, and you were still able to come back, but we were wondering if you were holding it just to get more value or what was going on there.
I was holding it to get more value, but at that point, I felt like I had a strong enough lead that I just said, screw it. I think I can, even if I can't steal from him, just rush to the win.
Mm-hmm.
I at that point decided to turn the corner and start rushing.
Yeah, which you did. So that worked out pretty well. And then one other question that I had. So Gunbullet for the first few turns in the second game seemed to be off to like a really slow start. Like you got a lot of your board clears early and like many clunky turns. So I was wondering, like, does it typically play like that if you get the Dark Amber Vault on the later side?
Yeah, I was not thrilled with the draw. Maybe I should have mulliganed. I really do hesitate to mulligan a 4-2-1 drawing for a particular card, because the odds are you won't get that card and you'll get a worse hand.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't really cooperating, but I knew what the deck could do, and I basically had an idea of Cartographer's efficiency, and I just basically at that point wanted to dig for it. And once I dug for it and got it, I had the tools I needed.
Right.
But yeah, if he was playing a rushier deck, I would have been a bit rolled over probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an important piloting skill, right? Is understanding what your deck's out is and leaning into it. So that seems right. Sorry, Shaka, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about drawing clunky is that you start to draw all your good stuff later. And I think as long as you know what your deck can do and like which cards you need to hold to have good impact when the good cards come, like it was really entertaining to watch the game turn around.
Yeah.
Once I got that Dark Amber Vault down, and I got a couple cards with that I could just keep throwing the Lyco Alien, the Mutagenic Researcher with the Teleporter platform, I knew I could just draw everything. And once I could draw everything, unless he was going to get some really great draws, I was in a much more advantageous position to pull that out.
Yeah. And even on the last turn, like it was set up with quite a strong puzzle, because you had the Ardent Hero guarding Anthony, and then the Faust was raising the key cost, and then Gorvanal is a threat to take him off the key next turn. The Forging Alliance was something we missed, and we're thinking like he may have been able to fire it based on the cards that he had. But
I'm pretty sure I saw at some point he threw it in the trash, or like just discarded it rather than playing it for the Amber, but I might have missed that.
Yeah, on the last turn he played it, but the key cost was too high.
Yeah.
For it to actually forge.
I think we were thinking if it had been Faust that died instead of the Ardent Hero, the costs might have been low enough that it could have fired. But that's one of those, like, at that point you're playing Math Forge, and
but
it's easy to make a mistake.
If the Faust had died rather than the Ardent Hero, wouldn't he have not been able to kill the Anthony, and that wouldn't have allowed him to go up high enough to get Forge anyway?
So I think the line was like he'd fight Faust, who wasn't guarded, with the Kirby.
Yeah.
And then zap the Anthony. Then Walls kills Faust.
Okay.
And then he can blaster the Anthony for the last two.
Okay. Yeah. At the end, when he didn't concede that last turn, I was nervous. I just felt like, oh, he's got me. But
we thought we were going to see a tribute, but actually Forging Alliance is something we totally missed.
When he played it, we kind of exploded, and then realized, oh no.
Wait, did he have tribute?
We thought he forged a key with it.
Yeah.
Did he have tribute in hand?
I don't know.
No, we don't know. I mean,
because if he did, he could have comm officered into it. So
right. That's sort of what we were expecting to happen. But
oh yeah, I forgot you guys couldn't see the cards. In my mind, you were looking at open hands. I set up the game. I knew you weren't looking at open hands.
We were not in that mode.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah.
But I do really think gun bullet versus beep, I think I'm pretty strongly favored in that.
Yeah,
So,
the only thing we were thinking was like if it like lost in the woods all your captured amber or something, but
that's true.
Sure.
Yeah,
that's true. And I mean, there's always 3 Control the Weeks is never anything to sneeze at.
yeah.
But
Cool.
Fortunately, it didn't come to that. Fortunately for me, I'm sure it would have been a more a fun game in some ways. But yeah,
I still had a great time.
No, I had a really good time with this game as well. It was a fun matchup.
Yep.
It was good as I really enjoyed the first game, letting Mask do what Mask wants to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, it did quite a lot. Cool. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us for this, and good luck with the next week. Congrats on your first league win. Definitely very earned, and nothing to sneeze at all. So congrats, and good luck with next week.
Oh yeah, one last question if you have a moment. When you exhumed the Harbinger at the end of the first game, were you holding that exhume?
No, I drew it.
Okay.
The turn before I either. Let me think back. I think I didn't draw it the turn before I played it, but the turn before that. And what I was sort of hoping he would do is what he did, and lay a bunch of creatures down. And then my plan was to do that. And I'm trying to remember the board state. If he had just reaped 4 times with Logos, it wouldn't have been nearly as strong of a play, but he laid a bunch of creatures down. So that worked out.
Mm.
That was a really sweet play.
Exhuming the Harbinger and then immediately killing it is often needed in that deck.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Well, sorry I cut off the sign off. But yeah, thanks for your time.
Thank you guys so much.
Yep.
All right. See you later. Bye.
Take care.
Yep.
Okay,
All right.
Cool. Well,
yeah. So,
have a great time.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for doing it with me. Thanks for joining us. And, so many leagues going on. Hope everybody finds a place in one of them and has a good time. So thanks, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.